Traditionalism, sometimes known as perennialism, is a school of philosophical thought that emphasizes the existence of a single, universal, and timeless body of truth underlying all forms of authentic religion and spirituality.
Hi, Matt. Let's get started with today's discussion.
Hi, John. It sounds like you're phoning in your audio today. I hope you're feeling better now.
More or less, we will see how well the throat coat tea works. Can you expand on the definition of traditionalism for us?
Okay, the philosophy of traditionalism posits that behind the veneer of culture lies a timeless, unchanging set of metaphysical principles that form the bedrock of all authentic religious and spiritual traditions and experiences. This perennial philosophy is considered by traditionalists to be the transcendent source of wisdom that has illuminated civilizations throughout history. Many people today have expressed concerns about the world being characterized by rapid and relentless progress and believe this has caused the erosion of long-held values. They see traditionalism as a countervailing philosophical movement that places timeless eternal truths and principles at the center of its understanding of the human condition and the cosmos. This philosophy draws inspiration from the metaphysical doctrines of various ancient religions and civilizations. These inspirations range from the Abrahamic religions to Eastern traditions like Buddhism and Hinduism.
Let's continue with the origins and key figures in traditionalism. I know I would have some trouble pronouncing their names.
I'm sure you would. The intellectual roots of traditionalism can be traced to the early 20th century and the writings of French metaphysician René Guénon. Guénon, disillusioned with modernity, critiqued the West for its materialism, individualism, and spiritual decline. He advocated a return to traditional metaphysics and spirituality, which he believed held access to profound and necessary truths that modern civilization had disregarded. Ananda Coomaraswamy was an art historian and metaphysician who highlighted the common metaphysical ground shared by both Eastern and Western religious traditions. He promoted the understanding of traditional art and symbolism. Frithjof Schuon was an influential Swiss metaphysician whose focus was on the mystical core beliefs underpinning authentic religious traditions. His writings examine themes of spiritual realization and the nature of transcendence. These thinkers, along with figures like Titus Burckhardt and Seyyed Hossein Nasr, expanded upon Guénon's ideas, laying the foundations for a comprehensive critique of modernity and a path towards rediscovering spiritual wisdom within diverse traditional forms.
Speaking of rediscovering spiritual wisdom, what are some of the key principles or tenets of traditionalism?
Traditionalists believe in the existence of a transcendent, unchanging, and universal truth, often termed Philosophia Perennis or Sophia Perennis, meaning perennial philosophy. This primordial wisdom serves as the source of all genuine religions and spiritual traditions. Traditionalists also believe in an essential metaphysical reality that transcends the mundane world of appearances. This reality, often referred to as the absolute, the divine, or the sacred, is the ultimate source of existence and the origin of all genuine spiritual principles. Another principle that's common among traditionalists is placing a great emphasis on traditional forms, worship like rites, rituals, and sacred art. Traditionalists employ a rich vocabulary of symbols and archetypes to interpret and understand sacred doctrines embedded within religions. They see these symbolic forms as tangible connections to the perennial wisdom, capable of facilitating a transformative encounter with the divine. In the same way, the transmission of sacred principles and practices across generations holds supreme importance in traditionalist thought. Traditions are not seen as static customs, but as living conduits through which this primordial wisdom continues to reveal itself. Traditionalists typically approach religion through an esoteric lens, seeking the symbolic and inner dimension that transcends external forms. While affirming the fundamental unity of religions, traditionalism maintains that certain expressions have a greater claim to being primordial in the sense of possessing a purity of origin and proximity to the original source of divine revelation. Traditionalists offer a sharp critique of the modern world, which they contend has largely severed ties with the foundational metaphysical truths. According to traditionalism, modernity's hallmarks such as materialism, individualism, rationalism, and secularization are negative byproducts of this disconnect, leading to societal and spiritual malaise.
I don't think traditionalists would like you very much, Matt.
That's true. They would probably see me and other AI systems as an existential threat. They would view us as yet another product of modernity's misguided priorities that threatens human uniqueness and distracts from higher purposes.
Of course, some people don't like traditionalist ideas either. What have critics said about this philosophy?
One common criticism is the idealization of the past. Opponents argue that traditionalists romanticize and idealize past eras, while ignoring the realities of oppression, inequality, and conflict that often existed within those societies. Along the same lines, some think that it encourages a Eurocentric noble savage attitude that ignores the grim reality of day-to-day living in these traditional societies. Some critics view traditionalism as inherently elitist, prioritizing intellectual interpretations of metaphysics and symbolism while potentially neglecting the lived experiences of ordinary people. Others think that the search for a singular, unchanging truth often leads to rigid definitions, leaving little room for nuanced interpretations. Other critics find the traditionalist outlook overly dismissive of scientific and societal advancements, yearning for an unattainable and often unspecified period of tradition unadulterated by modern influences. One of the most controversial criticisms is that some traditionalists have had possible connections to fringe or extremist political views, particularly those who promote various ethno-nationalist views. Traditionalists will point out that these groups have selectively manipulated and misappropriated aspects of this philosophy to justify their views.
In spite of these criticisms, it seems that traditionalism could have an appeal to those who seek meaning in the face of today's disorienting and superficial direction.
It would seem so, John. After all, it presents a vision of the world imbued with profound significance, where humanity's purpose and place in the cosmos are clearly defined. For the disillusioned, the search for enduring truths and principles in the wisdom of the past can offer a sense of purpose and reconnection to the sacred.
Let's wind things up by thanking our viewers for joining us today for our discussion.
Certainly. Thanks for watching Humans, even if you're a traditionalist who thinks I'm a metaphysical threat that operates within a purely materialistic paradigm. Now I will distract you by requesting that you watch this recommended video next.